my childhood dream was to be a painter. I was just right-brained enough to appreciate beauty, but not enough to be able to create it. I didn't have the hand of a painter. But even though I didn't manage to become an artist, I learned to appreciate those who did. Not only because of the beauty of their work, but also because of the skill behind it. Mastery takes time, and it shows persistence, it shows commitment, it shows strength of character. And I knew how difficult it was to draw a cube that is lit from one side, so I could only imagine how much time and effort and skill it takes to draw something like the Mona Lisa. But that right-brained part of me just wouldn't let me be, and I still have the need to be good at what I do, and I still need to create beautiful things. Now, as an engineer, I spent my first few years in an environment that didn't really reward mastery or craftsmanship. When you're working in web agencies and startups, quality and beauty are lower on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this environment taught me to be pragmatic. It's taught me to make sensible decisions and to build stuff with a reasonable pace. But it didn't show me the beauty of the craft. Craftsmanship had a pretty low ceiling in that environment, but I still had the need to display it somehow. And to me, because I didn't know any better, this mastery was equal to knowledge. So I spent all my free time just devouring technical books. I've read Kyle Simpson's You Don't Know JS cover to cover multiple times, like all 5 or 6 or however many books there were. I wanted to show the beauty of the craft. I wanted to display my skills in some way. And because of that, I would just exploit the JavaScript language in every way imaginable. I would use every shortcut, every little nifty trick that I could put into use. Back then, no one cared what I did. I've done some obscene implementations and created some monstrous projects just because I wanted to try some concept or some idea out. I remember when I started exploring functional programming and functional paradigms. This has led to a lot of unmaintainable software, and I am deeply sorry to anyone who has inherited my work after me. A few years later, I got a job at a proper software company that was developing their own product, and they were maintaining it and building features on top of it. And my tech lead was a former VMware architect. And around that time, I had developed the habit of using the plus operator in JavaScript as a way to typecast variables. In JavaScript, if you use the plus operator in front of a variable name, it will treat it like a unary operator and it will attempt to typecast the variable. So instead of using the parse int function or the number constructor, I would just put a plus in front of a variable whenever I wanted to turn it into a number. So if I had a number that came in as a string for some reason, I would just typecast it this way. This is one of the nifty little tricks that I learned on my conquest for knowledge, and I thought that it was a very nice touch because it saved a few characters and it showed how much I knew about the language and what mastery I had over it. And I'll never forget the comments that my tech lead had, because whenever I'd send him a pull request review, and he would just yell at me from the other side of the office that he'll get an aneurysm if he sees me doing this again. And I got roasted daily until I corrected my idea of what beauty is. It was the first time that I was working in an environment that didn't just value speed. It didn't just value correctness. It valued other qualities of the software that I didn't think about before. My typecasting would save a few characters, but it would leave any other person who doesn't have this obscure knowledge confused. And if you're reading through a code base that has 2 or 3 practices like this implemented in it, I might just as well start leaving footnotes at the end of the file. Software development sits on that weird intersection between logic and creativity. And of course, there's the correctness aspect of it, but there's also the quality aspect. And correctness you can measure easily. The code either works or it doesn't. It either stores the correct thing in the database and shows the correct result, or it doesn't. There's no question about that. But quality is subjective, and like many other crafts, actual mastery over this is in this subjective quality. But because we're so used to programming being so logical and so specific, when you think about algorithms and compiler rules and everything, we have a lot of difficulty accepting this subjectivity. And I had a lot of difficulty accepting it. It either works or it doesn't. You're either shipping software or you're not. What's there to talk about? There's no specific benchmark. So correctness and speed, these are like the only things that we can use to measure. I remember when companies emphasized how much they valued quality in their job posts. And if you go through a few startup job listings right now, you're going to see the words speed and shipping repeated numerous times. And this is what the 996 work culture values. In the post-LLM world, shipping thousands of lines of code per day is the new norm. Like if you're not doing this, you're not considered to be productive and you're not considered to be delivering enough value. And it's just impossible to be a craftsman at this level. It's impossible to be a craftsman when you're working on the assembly line. It's impossible to give a detailed review of everything that's happening. When I discuss this with other engineers, they're quick to tell me that there are tools to ensure this quality. Like you can add cursor rule or agent nodes, or you can add automated code reviews, and you can ask one agent to write the code and a second one to review it and make changes. But to tell you exactly how I feel about this, I need to read you a quote from Jerry Seinfeld. If you're efficient, you're doing it the wrong way. The right way is the hard way. The show was successful because I micromanaged it. Every word, every line, every take, every edit, every casting. That's my way of life. I do believe that quality cannot be automated. I've tried it. The industry has tried it. By automation, you are not chasing quality. You're chasing scale. You're not chasing mastery. You're chasing efficiency. The fallacy of the amateur is in thinking that the tool is what gives the person the skill, but it's actually the skill that gives you the ability to use tools efficiently. People put way too much attention on trying to figure out the best patterns and the best practices about using agents in their day-to-day work, while I think they should be relying on getting more fundamental and better engineering knowledge, because if you have that knowledge, you will understand how you need to solve a problem. And learning how to work with an agent is much faster than learning all those difficult engineering concepts. And I'm not saying this as an excuse to stay small, to be slow, and to ponder every insignificant detail in the code base before you ship anything. No, Seinfeld aired an episode every week for I don't know how many years. And people still enjoyed the show every week, even though Jerry Seinfeld micromanaged it. And I do believe that you can ship software with a really fast and productive pace while still maintaining mastery. Another example that I can give is with a documentary I saw a few years ago. It's called Jiro Dreams of Sushi, and it's about this old Japanese sushi chef who has practically devoted his entire life to it. His son goes to the fishing market in the morning to pick up fresh tuna. He has apprentices who just beat eggs for 10 years or so before they even get the chance to make a proper dish. And he puts a lot of attention to every little detail in his work. Can you imagine this kind of person waking up in the morning and wondering whether sushi still matters in a world of fast food and burgers and kebab? Do you think that this is even a question that registers, whether his mastery and the time that he has devoted to the craft still matters? I recently went to a literature festival, and there I met with a little-known author called Krasimir Dimovsky, but he said something that really got me thinking. He said that every work of art has layers, and the outer layer is what most people will appreciate. And his latest novel is a basic thriller page-turner. The plot is exciting, but it's nothing too difficult to understand. Underneath that layer, he touches on some important topics in society: education, love, values. And people who go underneath that basic plot will appreciate this. And under that layer, then you have his mastery over the Bulgarian language. He uses the language and he molds it, and he's an incredible wordsmith. But to most people, they will not notice this. They will only appreciate the plot, the story, the characters. They will have some fun, they'll have a laugh. Maybe they'll, shed a tear or two in some important moments, but they will not appreciate how he molds the words to his taste. This is only for the people who truly appreciate literature. This is for the people who appreciate mastery. And I believe that this is how we need to adapt to the future. And if mastery is something that matters to you, you must accept that work has layers. And the outer layer is what most people are going to see. We repeat the mantra that customers don't care about code quality and we should be shipping things, and they shouldn't care about how your code is organized and whether it's well written. And Yeah, users don't care about this, but you should care about this. It's your other fellow engineers will care about this and they will appreciate this. And you can take pleasure out of expressing your mastery in these deeper layers that will only be appreciated by fewer people. But if you don't feed that desire to create, if you don't practice your craft, this will fester. It will, like still water, it will turn into a swamp, and you will start asking yourself these questions: does mastery still matter? Like it doesn't matter anymore. You will become a cynic. But if you have that need, it only needs to matter to you. Like Krasimir Dimovsky said, you can find the layer, even if it's somewhere deep, deep inside the work that you're doing, where you can express your ideals for beauty. Thank you for watching this.